Alright, so you want to learn how to anodize. Let's get into it. Alright, hey guys, what's up? It is Lindy from Knife Modders. So, this is going to be a very standard, basic, everything you need to know how to anodize video. The things that you will need to buy or just things that you need in order to anodize to get started. So let's talk about it. Oh, also, this is going to be a multi-part series. So this video is going to be the basics, like anodizing 101. Alright, but in the next video, we're also going to be talking about how different finishes, like aluminum oxide, crushed glass, garnet, bead blasting, satin, mirror polished, all the different finishes, how it affects the colors that you get with anodizing on titanium. Alright, but and the one after that is also it's going to be about heat anodizing, like using a torch or even using stovetop to bronze anodize steel hardware, stuff like that. Alright, so let's talk about what you need. Alright, so to get started, you are going to need distilled water. It's covered in buffing wheel shit, I'm so sorry. So distilled water is a must-have. Now, you can use tap water. However, please don't use tap water. This is a very clean process. The entire thing needs to be extremely clean. Tap water is not clean, okay? So distilled water is the way to go. Now, everything, I want to mention this real quick. Everything that I mention will be, there will be a link down below where you can buy it. We are a part of the Amazon affiliate program, so we do get a small kickback if you buy something with our links. So if you want to support the channel, that is the way to do it, but you don't have to. But there will be a link down below where to buy everything, okay? So, distilled water. This is necessary for the electrolyte solution. Now let's talk about the electrolyte. So, baking soda. This is what we use. Baking soda is just a clean, easy way to go, but you can also use TSP, which is trisodium phosphate. It's like a type of cleaner. You can also use borax. Borax is another way you can do it. You want to see how gross this is? Look how gross this is. This is because the buffing wheel. Alright. So that's going to create the electrolyte part of your electrolyte solution. From there, you're also going to need a cathode. So a cathode can be aluminum foil. It can be a spoon from your silverware drawer, a fork, a butter knife, something that can create so that it closes the circuit ultimately, so you can anodize your titanium piece. You're also going to need we use 16 gauge, but 16 gauge titanium wire. Make sure it is good quality titanium wire. I have purchased some bunk titanium wire and it will not anodize. Some weird shit happens, so make sure it's high quality, like true grade 5, grade 4, whatever, titanium, okay? You're also going to need a power supply. So if you go onto Amazon and you purchase, if you look up power supply, majority of the ones that come up are 30 volt, and unless you only want to go to like sky blue, the lower voltage range of colors, you can use that. Or if you want to do higher voltages, it's best to buy the 120 volt power supply, like the one that we have. That way you can go and do all of the higher voltages all the way up to green, okay? And if you are going to be doing higher voltages, you're going to need an etchant of some type. So you can get Wink Rust and Stain Remover. They sell that at your local hardware store, grocery store. They also have it on Amazon. I'll link it down below. But what we use is Multi-Etch. Multi-Etch, I'll put a link down below. You can't buy it on Amazon. You have to buy it from a specific website. It's the only place you can buy it. And Multi-Etch that's a whole nother video in and of itself, but we'll get into it once we start the anodizing part. Okay, so let's talk about how to assemble and create the electrolyte solution to get you ready for anodizing. Alright, so there is one more thing that I forgot to mention that you will need. You're going to need a tub of some kind that you can create the electrolyte solution in. This is very important. We got these off Amazon, correct? Walmart? Oh, okay, we got these from Walmart. but I'm sure I'll link some good sizes. This came in a set of a bunch of different ones, and we use all of them. It's great. You'll see here in a second the smaller one we use for our etchant. All right, so let's create the electrolyte solution. I should preface this. I'm sure there is a better or perfect ratio, right? But this is something that you can easily eyeball. So let's do it. All right, so we have our distilled water, our knockoff, our great value baking soda. We have a piece of foil that we are going to use. All right, so let's pour in our baking soda. And you're also gonna need like a spoon of some kind so you can mix the baking soda. Will you grab me a spoon? All right, so let's just, so depending on how big your piece is, like, I mean, I'm gonna fill this up like pretty high, okay? So we're gonna fill this up. And it's best to get a like tall and narrow thing. Awesome, thank you. A fork, okay, that works, that's fine. Oh, okay, here's a spoon. I mean, whatever, man, whatever works. All right, so we're gonna fill it up to about there. Like I was saying, you want it more of a narrow so that way you can suspend the scales in, you know, perfectly up and down. You don't want it resting on the ground or anything. Okay, so now, baking soda. You're going to add a good amount, okay? And we're gonna stir that, and we're gonna stir it until you can see how cloudy this is. You're going to stir it until it turns clear, so that way we know all of the baking soda is completely dissolved. There we go. Okay. And you don't want to put too much in there. You'll know it's too much if baking soda settles onto the bottom. And if that happens, just add some more distilled water, okay? So, I'm gonna start again because I just did that. All right, so we have officially created our electrolyte solution. So now we're going to need a cathode. Our cathode is this super high-tech piece of foil here, and we're going to rest this up against the very edge because you do not, by any means, want your titanium piece touching this, because like aluminum foil transfers onto the titanium, and then you're gonna have a little piece of aluminum stuck on there and it looks like shit, so don't do that. So you're gonna just kind of tweak it with your hands, make sure it's rested all the way up against the wall here, and you can kind of just tuck it under, and you also want to leave a little bit on top so that way you can connect your, we have our wires switched, it's a long story, but this is our negative, okay? So you can connect your negative alligator clip to the foil. Boom, okay? There we go. Now, before we get into anodizing, you need to thoroughly clean your piece. So I'm gonna go over to our sink right now. I'm gonna scrub this, make sure it's completely clean, our hands are clean, and I'll grab my titanium wire and we'll start going through the lower voltages. All right, so I should have mentioned this. Another thing I suggest buying are gloves. We ran out of small gloves, so I'm wearing the medium, and I look like a dweeb, but that's okay, that it gets the job done. All right, so we have our extremely clean, very, very clean. We have not touched this with our hands. We don't want any hand oils, anything on there. You also want to make sure it's best to get something with a lid if you're going to keep your anodizing bath, because you don't want anything falling in there and dirtying your solution. So let's start with the low, oh, that's my phone, sorry guys. All right, we're going to turn on our power supply. Maybe I'll turn this a little. There you go. All right, so we're going to turn this down, and we are going to go all the way down, and we'll start at around, oh no, we don't need to go to 0. We'll start at 12 volts. Okay, 12 volts is going to be very light bronze. So here we have our titanium wire, okay, our titanium piece. We have our negative alligator clip clipped to the aluminum foil. And now we are going to grab our positive piece, our alligator clip, and we are going to connect it to the clip that, or to the titanium wire, to the piece that we are anodizing, okay? All right, and let's anodize. So you're going to set this in the solution, okay? And you're gonna see here, if you can see that the wattage is changing and it is dropping. It can go up to like 20, 30 something, and it drops all the way down to 0, okay? Once it's dropped all the way down to 0, you know that it is anodized as much as it possibly can at this voltage. So we're gonna wait. All right, let's check it. I'm going to dry this. You can see that it has changed color. Okay, hold on a sec. Let me dry it. All right, we've got our paper towel. This is not the prettiest satin finish, guys. This was like scrap tie, so bear with me here. Honestly, after you anodize, you should go wash it. Make sure, get the piece really clean. But for the sake of the video, we are just going to look at it directly out of the bath, dry it off with a paper towel. Okay? This is light bronze. I should also say that you can go online and you can type in titanium anodizing chart, and a bunch of different ones will pull up. They're all relatively similar, and you can go based off of the voltages they describe there. But a better way to do it is to do it on your own with your own power supply, because some of the anodizing charts may not match up with what happens when you anodize with your power supply. So just experiment. Make sure that, figure out what voltage works for you to, match, especially if you're doing higher voltages and it is etched. We'll get into that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. I am going to go wash the piece again, and we'll go up to 15 volts. Alright. So, got our freshly cleaned piece. Let's go up to 15 volts. There we go, 15, okay, get our piece, put it in the anodizing bath, okay. So I'm going so the anodizing chart, we're working our way up slowly but surely, and obviously you can do in between voltages, right? But that's something you can experiment with at home. So I'm gonna go wash this actually. It's give me a sec. All right, so here is dark bronze, and I have a light right here, so this is probably difficult to see. I hope this is coming out all right. So we have dark bronze. All right, let's go up to purple. So there's voltages in between, right? There's like a eggplanty color, that's like the halfway point between bronze and purple, but we're gonna go directly to purple. We'll go to blue, because those are the main colors that most people use. All right, so there's multiple purples that we can do, but right now I'm setting it to 21.5. Personally, I think that is the perfect shade of purple. There we go. Setting that into the anodizing bath, and now we wait. All right, so here is our purple. It's still wet. I tore through my gloves, so I'm not wearing gloves right now, but I'm gonna wash it. I'll go get more gloves. All right, okay, you can see that it's purple. Maybe it's just because I'm using such a small screen on my camera. All right, so I'm gonna go wash this, and we'll go up to blue. We'll do dark blue at 25 volts. Put the piece in. Actually, let's just do 28 volts. We're just gonna do blue, because I'm sure you can understand the process at this point. Okay, So this will be our last low voltage, and then we'll go through the process of etching and doing higher voltages. Here is our blue. And something you'll figure, this is just a satin piece, right? But if you were to do this on bead blasted or standard like glass blasted, the color would be a lot different. So we're just doing satin pieces right now. I'll also include a link down below where you can get some scrap titanium. We get ours off eBay. All right, so we have completed the lower voltages and we are going to move on to the higher voltages. So now we are going to need etchant of some type. We are using multi-etch. Multi-etch, when you get the multi-etch, there are instructions as how to dilute it and the ratios to use. I'm not going to get too deep into that because honestly that's like a whole nother video in and of itself, so maybe I'll include that or make that another video in this series. But alright, so we have multi-etch. You can also use wink. What we're doing, we are going to cold etch with our multi-etch. We do it for 2 to 2.5 minutes. However, if you are using wink rust and stain remover, do not do 2 minutes. It's a matter of seconds. It's seconds. At 2 minutes, you will completely destroy your piece. It'll look terrible. It'd be way too etched. You put it in for a few seconds and you just pull it right back out. Put it directly in the anodizing bath. So same with the multi-etch. As soon as it's done etching, you take it out and it directly goes straight into the bath. Perk to using baking soda is that it neutralizes the acid or the etchant. It neutralizes it. And you're going to want to have your power supply set to around 15 volts or whatever voltage you want to do it at, but you anodize it and helps keep it from oxidizing.
Also, you can have multiple tubs set up, so like you could go from the etchant into like one with distilled water and baking soda.
To rinse it?
Some people do that, actually a lot of people do that, or it'll just be like a thing of Windex to just rinse it, but we just go straight into the anodizing tank and it's fine.
Yeah,
never had any issues with it.
Yeah, no we haven't, but we have seen a lot of people, other people do that. Okay, so I'm gonna go grab the piece. We are going to etch it. Probably gonna do a time lapse here because you guys don't need to sit around here for 2 minutes. All right, I'll see you guys in. Alright, so just to get out of the bath, we are going to do a fuchsia color. So we have our piece, it is etched. I'm going to close the etchant because this stuff will like bleach your clothes. Alright, so right now it's just set at like 28 volts. Alright, so I want to do a fuchsia color. Now if you look at the anodizing chart says it is 70 volts, or 80 volts, excuse me. However, I've noticed with our anodizing bath, with our power supply, sorry, 80 volts is not fuchsia. It is 13 volts lower, because it's been etched. It is 30 volts lower than what the anodizing chart says. So you're going to want to experiment with your own power supply and figure out what is true to your power supply. So I'm subtracting 13 from 80 and we are going to do 67 volts, okay? I'm going up to 67. It is at a gold color right now. Okay. All right, you can see that. It is a beautiful fuchsia color. It's still wet. It'll clear up as soon as I dry it. All right. All right. Now see, look, here we go. focus on the piece. All right. Okay, so it has already been etched. We do not need to re-etch it. We'll do 77 volts. So we're gonna go up 10 volts. We're gonna do a vibrant high voltage purple. All right. Okay. So when I reflect this paper towel, see how it looks purple? But in the light, it looks blue. High voltage colors are such a trip, man. It's a beautiful color. All right, so I think that's gonna wrap up today's video. I think we touched on everything that I wanted to say in today's video. So we went over everything that you need, and make sure to check the description box below. I have links to all of the supplies where you can buy it. I'm also a part of we are a part of the Amazon affiliate program, so we will get a little bit of kickback if you do use our links. We also just created a Patreon, so if you would like to become a Patreon member, all 3 tiers are eligible for Patreon exclusive giveaways. You're also going to get some behind the scenes content, so watch us struggle is what I called it. So while we learn new mods, or just mod vlogs, or shop vlogs, and you also, the highest tier will get knife mod instructionals that I will not post to YouTube. It'll be specifically for Patreon. Just a little say thank you to all of those who support us. I want to say thanks again. So many of you guys have been coming to our live streams, and so many of you have been watching them after we streamed. It's just crazy. So thank you guys so much for all of your support and everything. I hope this little how-to video helps you learn how to anodize, or to at least get you started. I think that is going to wrap up today's video. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!